Welcome to Let's Preview, and today we're looking at Manchester City versus Liverpool. 4:30 on Sunday, Liverpool are taking on Manchester City at the Etihad in a very, very important game, especially after today's results, and I'm talking about the Arsenal result. Unbelievable. They were against West Brom, they were at West Brom, and Arsenal have gone and lost 3-1. Huge, absolutely massive, because what that means for us now, right now, Arsenal are sat in 5th place. Let me just double check that. Arsenal are sat in 5th place. Everton bumped themselves up to 6th on the back of a 4-0 victory that they got as well. Now, Manchester United are currently in 7th. But if Man United win their next Premier League game, they will actually jump into 5th place and Arsenal will drop down to 6th. So, what does that mean for us? We've got to take advantage of this. We have to go and look at our track record we've had against Manchester City in the past, and we've done pretty well when it comes to games against Manchester City, whether it's at home or it's away from home. And I think that it's an opportunity for us to do quite well. Now, there are obviously some key talking points now that Firmino has now apparently been passed fit to play on Sunday, which is wonderful news, because then it means that we can keep the structure of our team just the same as it usually is when it's at its strongest, and looks like, we're getting back to our best in some ways, and we've actually got adaptability in that we can play in some different ways as well, as we saw against Burnley, and it was sorely needed. There were rumours that Sadio Mane was going to be starting up front, and then I don't know how you would then jiggle around the team, but if Firmino's fit to start, that's really, really great, because Divock Origi is going to be out, and I think Daniel Sturridge is obviously still out. Henderson comes back in, as far as I'm aware. No injury issues or anything there. So we should have our full strength team, or as full strength as it gets. And we should have that ready for Manchester City. Man City, for me, the scariest part of Man City is Kevin De Bruyne, Yaya Toure, when they're on their games and they are very good at passing, very good vision, very good at distributing the ball wherever they need it. And they've obviously, my main threats for me, and I'm not ignoring Sergio Aguero because he's obviously a threat whenever he's on the pitch. But when I'm looking at Raheem Sterling and I'm looking at Leroy Sané, now looking at those two, and I think especially Leroy Sané, and I'm not saying that as a Liverpool fan just because of Sterling and stuff like that, I think Sané is the one that is, he just doesn't seem to have any fear whatsoever. He will take anything on, take shots on, take dribbles on. He's not afraid to fly a ball into the box in the hope that someone gets on the end of it. And conversely, he's not afraid to just fire off a shot and just, if he's got it on target, it's always got a good chance of going in. He's a dangerous young player with speed and good technical ability. And Sterling's kind of the same. I'd say that Sané is maybe a little bit above Raheem Sterling. I think that Sterling's got, the main scary thing about Sterling is his literal pace. And when his pace is on his day, it can be quite scary. Nathaniel Klein and Milner, who I imagine are going to be the left back and right back in this game, are going to have a lot of work to do. They're going to have to keep tight to their players and really marshal them very well. Otherwise, then we've got to rely on the defenders and goalkeeper. And while I'm obviously a massive fan of Joel Matip, he can't do it all on his own, and it's going to have to come down to either Klavan or Lovren, who's going to step in there and who's going to partner him. They're going to have a lot of work to do to keep Aguero quiet as well. They've got very, very good attacking players. Now, we have to look at Manchester City from our point of view, and also some of the point of views that you see on social media from Manchester City fans and such like that, that they are afraid of Sadio Mane in particular and what he could do to the Man City defence, because that defence is not that good anymore. I'm not saying it's not great. I'm not saying it's shit. I'm not saying it's really, really bad or anything like that. It's just not as good as it ever was. You've obviously got Vincent Kompany that is not in that defence, and he's been very in and out, very rarely fit this season. He is a very, very unbelievably good defender. Without him, they don't really have a great deal of leadership in that defence. And it depends on their goalkeeping situation as well. Now, for me, I would imagine Man City are going to go with Willy Caballero, because at the moment I think he's got a bit of a better record than Claudio Bravo. So I think that's probably who they're going to go with in goal. In defence, if it's going to be like Sir John Stones and that, and Otamendi or whoever else is on there, Zabaleta, Sanya, whoever else is going to be in there, I think we've got to take advantage of the fact that they're not the fastest players. And if we can get Coutinho, Firmino and Mane in particular in and around that defence, we could really cause some havoc. And that's what we've really got to be aiming to do in this game, is really utilise. Like, Mane's really going to have to be on it on every opportunity that he gets and really burst through that defence. I imagine that defence will be sitting back further than it normally does against some teams, just because to try and cover for the likes of Mane. Coutinho doesn't have the most pace and he's not in the best of form at the moment, but he still is a very good player. And Firmino doesn't have a great deal of pace, but he works very hard and he will press that back line very, very well. It's a very important one for us because depending on what the Tottenham result is when they next play, this result for us could mean, even if we draw this game, we would still go above Man City, we would go into third. We have the opportunity to go into second. And for me, a lot of the talk about us at the moment is, yes, we're in the top four. Then obviously they're coming up with the conspiracy theories and stuff. Well, not conspiracy theories, that's wrong. They're coming up with the theories of getting top four will not necessarily guarantee you Champions League qualification this year for a couple of reasons. Man United are still in the Europa League, and if they win it, they could then get a place in the Champions League. Leicester are still in the Champions League, and if they pull it off and they win it, they're obviously not in the Champions League places right now. That could really, throw a spanner in the works for whoever finishes fourth. And while being in the top four is quite good, it's quite nice, for me, main aim has to be, all right, yeah, we're in the top four. That's minimum. That is minimum. But, barring the worst happens and Man United maybe go on and win the Europa League, I always try and think, plan for the worst, hope for the best. Now, if they win the Europa League, we're sat in fourth. I'm not entirely sure how it works, but I don't know if that means we wouldn't then be in the Champions League. Kind of like Tottenham a few years ago when I think Chelsea won the Champions League and they were sixth in the league. Somebody can maybe let me know that in the comments. That'd be really, really good because I'm not... To be fair, I haven't actually looked at it a great deal online. Probably should have. But we should be striving for top three. Top three, because then you're in. You know you're in. You don't have to go through qualifying. You're in. That's it. And that is the main thing, I think, in terms of us. If we can get this result against Manchester City, if we get a draw, okay, we move on. We go on to the next fixture. But if we can win it, it not only puts daylight between us and Arsenal, so it would put 8 points, I think. It'd put 8 points between us and Arsenal. We would then go into second, and it would also depend on Tottenham. Now, Tottenham have got a lot of work to do as well, because Tottenham, they will still score goals. They won't have Harry Kane, and I think it's 3 or 4 weeks or something it is, they won't have Harry Kane. Man United have got some work to do as well. I think Pogba's injured. Not entirely sure on that one. Pogba's injured. Ibrahimovic is suspended for the game at the weekend, for the domestic games, isn't suspended for the Europa League games and stuff like that as well. And Ander Herrera, I think, is serving a 2-match ban. Might be 2 matches, I think it is. They've got a couple of things to shift around as well. At the moment, we have to take advantage of a wounded Man City team, I would say, after crashing out of the Champions League. Now the Premier League is all they have to focus on, I think. I'm not sure where they are. I don't follow Man City a great like I follow Liverpool, obviously, but I think that the league and the Champions League places placement and stuff like that at the end of the season is going to be their priority now. And if we can pick up some points here, if we can get ahead of Man City at least, and then it's all really down to Tottenham as well, we're in good stead for the rest of the season. Like starting tomorrow. So we've played 28 games. This is going to be the first of our last 10 games of the season, and it's crucial. It's coming up. It's absolutely coming up to the end of the season. It's getting into the final straight. Once we hit the last 5 games of the season, man, I don't know what predicting games is going to be like at that point, but I'm hoping it's going to be quite positive. Now, what I am going to do for this one, I am predicting a Liverpool win. We are away from home. I think we're going to be starting with a very good starting 11. Standard one that we would always go for now that we know that Firmino is going to be fit. I'm not even going to go through the rest of the team because you probably pretty much know who it is already in the team. But I'm not going to predict a scoreline because predicting scorelines for Liverpool, it's impossible at the moment. It really is impossible. We can come out and do performances like we do against Tottenham, or we have to really scratch and claw and grind like we did against Burnley. I'm not sure. I think that Liverpool can win it, but what I'd like you guys to do is get your predictions down below. What do you think is going to happen in the game, and how do you think it's going to end up? Are we going to beat Man City? Let me know in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, please drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you're new around here. I'll be doing the review of this after the game. tomorrow, so check that one out as well. But I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know it, like the video, subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you later.